The world is really big, right? Like right now, just sitting in your seat, you're spinning 1,000 miles per hour. I mean, I get sick in a parked car. Okay, so just the thought of it is kind of making me a little. Let's move on. And the Earth is orbiting around the sun 67,000 miles per hour, literally hurling through space at faster than a speeding bullet. And the sun, you could fit 1.3 million Earths inside our sun. And yet it's just one star in 100 to 400 estimated billion in our galaxy, just in our galaxy, the Milky Way. It's estimated that there are 1 trillion observable in our universe. To travel across our Milky Way, let's just put it this way, if there was a light switch on one side of the Milky Way and a light bulb on the other side of the Milky Way, if you flipped that switch, 100,000 years later, the light would come on. And that's just in our neighborhood. There are more stars in the universe than there are grains of sand on every beach on Earth. Now, unless you are an astrophysicist, you probably think about the size of the universe for a solid about 45 seconds, and then your brain quietly just short circuits. Right? Like it's just too big to grasp. But in that moment, when your jaw drops and your mind stalls out, there's this, And we have this same feeling when we vacation in wonderful places. Now, not everyone vacations in wonderful places this summer. I know I was talking to a friend of mine just this past week, and I said, hey, what are you guys doing for summer vacation? And he said, we're going to Alexandria, Virginia. Must be family there. You're going because of family, right? No, but usually it's the mountains or it's the beach, right? Somewhere where you're standing in the ocean and it's just this magnificent view. Maybe a mountain, sitting on a porch watching the fog rise through the trees on a quiet morning. Now, why do we travel to those places? Like, why are we drawn to those things? And of course, it's nice to vacation there. It's nice. But I think there's something deeper going on, something that touches more than just our physical need for rest. For me, it was the first time I went out to New Mexico to visit my in-laws, my future in-laws at the time. And I never had been out in the Southwest area and stuff like that. And we were driving from Albuquerque to Los Alamos. And we're driving through this vast emptiness, space land of nothingness, I guess the desert maybe. And I'd never seen anything like it before in my life. And in my eyes, it's like they stretched. My eyes were stretching, And it's I don't know if you know that, but your eyes don't stretch very much here. We have a lot of trees, you might get on the highway, and I remember looking around, I couldn't even judge distance. The mountains, it feels like they're not that big. And and Pam was like, no, they're really, really big. Are you sure? They look small. And I remember, while we were driving, I was looking out the side of the window, and there was this, it looked like scorched earth, black scorched earth. And I thought, maybe they had some wildfires or something. I said, that's pretty crazy. And my father-in-law said, no, that's actually the shadows of the clouds. I was like, what? Clouds have shadows? I don't get out much. But it was a lot. It was a lot for me to take in. I've grown since then, but it's a lot. It's a lot. But there's something about that just kind of opens us up, right? This quiets our minds, it resets our souls, those moments. And I think what it does, also, it opens this door of wonder for us, right? This wonder door, and we start looking at it where do I fit into this? Right? Which is not a normal question to have, right? When you bump into something bigger than yourself, it makes you change your perspective, and you think to yourself, where do I fit into all of this? Instead of what happens is, where does all that fit into my world, right? And especially, if anyone runs any kind of schedule, because you're constantly asking, okay, well, do I have room for that in my schedule? Hey, the kid's got a dentist appointment at 2:00. Can you take them? And can we do soccer practice? 2 days a week? And it's just like, hey, can we have a meeting real quick? And it's like, can I fit all this? Can I fit it into what is going on in my world? But when you bump into something bigger, like the galaxy, or like the ocean, or like cloud shadows, it changes your perspective. And it's like, okay, this is way bigger than me. Where do I fit into all this? It makes us feel small, but at the same time safe. It reminds us that we're part of something bigger. It humbles us. It opens us up, lifts our eyes. And the amazing part is you don't need a telescope or vacation. You can find it on a walk. You can find it on your front porch. The way the light filters through the trees, the way the birds wake the world up in the morning, just reminds you that there's more to the world than emails and traffic and laundry. Now, there's this growing debate in the atheist scientist community about the role that awe and wonder has in good science. The tension is that as scientists explore and discover more about the world around us, they can't seem to shake this transcendent feeling of awe, despite what they may believe. It's a sense that there's more than what can be seen or known. It feels spiritual. It feels transcendent. It feels divine. And ironically, scientists are beginning to realize that stifling this sense of awe and wonder actually holds back progress. Shutting the wonder door closes off curiosity. And curiosity is the engine on which science runs. It closes off. Scientists are less open to new ideas, less open to imagining what could possibly be. Traditionally, science hasn't been made much room for feelings. Like you see things, but you don't feel them. Lying on your back and staring at the stars, no one would probably think that would be good science, but maybe the very sense of wonder that we were shortened, that maybe has a little bit more to do with truth than we have allowed. Now, God, in the first part of our passage here at creation, he gets into this beautiful rhythm in this first passage where he creates, and then he stops and he looks. He creates, and then he stops and he looks. He creates, stops, and he looks, and he says it's good. It's very good. Now, I'm sure that there's not necessarily a sense of awe in God, right? There's this sense that an overwhelming reverence necessarily, but God certainly stops and delights in his creation. So God models for us this stopping and looking. So what about you? What amazes you? What stuns you? What makes you feel small but safe?